Currently, the wind chill is 26 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, it's almost that time of year again. You guys know what I'm talking about. Today is our first freeze here. Yesterday, I was outside doing probably the coldest mow that I've done of the season for sure. I tried to film some stuff yesterday and I started talking and my face just felt completely frozen. And I was like, well, this is not gonna work so well. So there's a good chance that I might throw some of that footage from yesterday into today's video as well. So if you see me going back and forth and I'm wearing something different, then you'll understand why. But this past week I was in Denver for a couple days helping my brother do some moving there, and so I got to see the first snowfall there. They had a decent snow on the morning that I left to get back to Des Moines. So the update here on this thing too is things are not going so well. It's not getting any better. It's probably maybe getting slightly worse, but the next time you think you've done something embarrassing, just imagine me walking through one of the largest airports in the country, getting on planes, doing all this stuff with this thing on my face right here and having the embarrassment of that. So just keep that in mind next time you think you've done something where you're slightly embarrassed, then just remember this. But there's a good reason for it, and I'm hoping that's going to come out towards the end of this month. The reason for this whole thing that I'm doing, and also going on the internet and making videos with this thing on my face. So where others were getting snow last week, we were getting a lot of rain, and we got another 2 inches, slightly more than that, which is now frozen today. It's been a very wet season as far as fall goes here, and normally it starts to dry out slightly more than it has been. So the farmers, I'm sure, are not very happy with that either. They got a late start this year. Now it's getting later into their harvest season. It's just how it goes with things here. I've also made this mistake before of not taking in this rain gauge, and you can see that it very quickly gets frozen. And then it will definitely break, so make sure you remove this if you have one or a rain gauge like that. So the backyard's still looking really good. This frost isn't going to completely stop anything by any means. It just means that we're getting to those temperatures where the more this occurs, obviously we're getting to the end of the season. So that would be the reason why I'm seeing such a slowdown in the grass right there, is we are at under 50 degrees. So cool season grass, 50 to 65 is kind of our prime time there. This doesn't mean that it doesn't fluctuate though. We have more 60s coming towards the later part of next week. So this temp will probably come back up, and right now it's also morning time in the shade. I just wanted to test in general to see where we were at. Also back here I was using the Honda at 1.75, so this is cut at 1.75. Now I did use the Time Master a few weeks ago at that height, and I found that my ground didn't handle it quite as well, just because remember that the larger deck on the Time Master is 30 inches and the Honda is smaller, so if you have any bumps that are uneven, some were cut lower than others, so I wanted to try the Honda and it worked well. So 1.75 on this is pretty doable with that, and I still have been using the reel mower as well back here, but when I was gone for those few days it got slightly taller, so I wanted to use the rotary to get it cut. So we will be talking about what I do with my machines and all of that stuff for winterizing coming up, but I have some more mows left to do yet. I want to show you the sissy grass right now and show you that deep, dark, amazing color that it has. So this is slightly overgrown because I was gone and I didn't mow it yet. So it's been 5 days now, which is usually I'm mowing it every other day. And then yesterday I did mow this over here. So I'll show you this. So that one was mowed yesterday, and I'll probably mow this other one today if I get a chance. You can probably see out in here all of these worm castings. Probably what I deal with the most in the wetter parts of the year and when the grass is not growing as aggressively, as these mounds start to show up, and once that reel mower goes over it, it will smash those down and will not look good at all. So you would love to say you can come in and remove these, but with how wet it is like mud city everywhere, so you can't just brush them off like you would want to. It's really muddy. So here's a good example of kind of what they look like after they're smashed down after I mowed yesterday. So you just get a big spot like this, kind of annoying. Okay, so this was our section over here of the Creeping Charlie. This has also been getting the wettest because this is where my water runs the most in between me and my neighbor, so you will see some muddy kind of tracks from the mower yesterday. I don't see anything from where it was. It did hit some of the bluegrass slightly. The spray looked like it kind of discolored some of the tips of the bluegrass, but now it has come back again and looks fine. So if you notice something like that, as long as you didn't go crazy heavy with it, and I also used the lower rate, then I don't think you'll see any long-term damage or anything like that. So very happy with that overall. Also, sad day here for my wife, and the garden is done as well. There's something interesting happening. When I drove back home, I noticed as I looked at the side yard that I could tell some color differences. So again, this is the midnight section. I'll put this up on the screen, what cultivars are where. Right in here is where the midnight stops. The middle section seems to be much lighter in color right now, and I'm not exactly sure what happened. I know that this section out in here that looks lighter is probably where most of the rain and the wettest part of everything sat when I was growing in the seed. You can definitely tell some differences in the color, and up there in that section, the one nearest the house, even though we had a lot of shade, the color is looking great up there as well. So I'm liking it so far. Maybe next May or so we'll know for sure, but it's an interesting look so far. Right here you can also definitely see the line of the ryegrass to the bluegrass, so all rye over there. Of course, that's also slightly more established yard, but that's kind of the differences. So you're going to notice those couple things, and you're going to see quite a difference in the color there compared to this to that. Well, it may be cold, I will tell you that, but that was one of the best mows of the season for sure. This sissy grass loves the cold weather, shining like crazy today in the sun. So I did some stripes back and forth this way, and then I did single double in the other direction, so you can see it back behind me there. Man, I wish that the season was not coming to an end. Every part of the season when I get to this, the light is awesome at this time of the year. It's really low, and you just get a great shine off the yard. So disappointed that mowing will be over soon. So we'll have this thing in tip-top shape for Halloween, that is for sure, unless there's snow on it or something, but we'll hope that doesn't happen. I'm looking forward to it, looking forward to the last few weeks of the season. So also remember that it's time to bring in your liquids or whatever you're going to do with these. If you have a climate controlled garage or something, that's awesome. Of course, me out in the shed and it just being out in the elements, I need to take all the liquid stuff out of there, move it down into our basement, and this is my wife's favorite time of year, where I take half of the stuff that I have in here, move it down to our storage room, and take over most of the basement. So long term, probably not at this property, but someday I hope to have maybe a climate controlled solution so I don't have to move all this stuff all the time. But we'll be talking about the mowers and what I do with that process, and probably one final winterizer app of fertilizer as well. Have a video on that from last year if you want to get a head start or you're wondering about it, but we'll be talking about that soon once I get back from GIE and I have Ben Sims here. We'll see what kind of fun we can get into. So thank you guys for watching this video today. We'll see you next time.